All right, so I know lots of companies like to play secret squirrel with their stuff, but we really don't. And it's no secret that um, the plugins that I want built, plugins that I want to make over at AIX DSP, are actual plugins that help me to get my job done every day. And one of the big ones is whether you like it or not, and go ahead, bring the hate. There's a lot of stuff to do with drum triggering and drum samples, or just, if people are writing and stuff. There's tons of good drum stuff out there. I mean, awesome stuff. So it's not like without what we're going to give, the world's in some impoverished state. It's really not. However, I do have some trouble with the way some of these drum triggering plugins work, and I kind of like to combine them all, and I'm going to do what we can. So I'm just going to start designing. If you guys got ideas, let me know, because I know this is important to a lot of you. I know some of you won't admit it, but it may be important to you. And for right now, like, what are you using? Are you using Trigger? I know that a lot of people do, like Bobby Huff. You just place them in by hand. Use your audio to MIDI and just have it just drop samples in. I do that from time to time. I know it's the sound of, like, pop or country or even a lot of rock. To me, that kind of often sounds pretty fake, but it doesn't have to. There's actually a round robin way you could do that, but I'd really like to have kind of a quick solution to make this kind of stuff happen. Now, ideally, one day, AI is going to take this and make it so. Yeah, okay, Drumagog 5. Okay, awesome. So Drumagog is what actually got me onto the computer in the first place. So I was working with Bill Matoyer a lot on, like, for Metal Blade, things like that. And, we did a lot of triggering. So we had the 4-ats. He liked that Alesis D4 a lot, even though we had DM5s and DM Pros and all that. We used the 4-at a lot. The AMS to trigger a single sample. And, Drumagog was offering some stuff that would make things real. And at the time, I didn't have a multi-channel sound card, but I could export a track and then, somehow sync it back up later on. I had a SPIT if only sound card, but it could chase SMPTE. And that's how I got onto the computer. And then once I really did my first computer stuff with Drumagog, I never went back. I don't think I ever mixed an album on a console again after that, really. Oh yeah, everybody's talking about Audacity. Really just had a huge update. So anyway, Drumagog is still awesome. It was a little clunky for me. There's some stuff I would like different. I do like Drumagog. So first of all, it looks like Reaper needs an update. So let me do that real quick. Check, check, check. Yeah, see? Well, isn't that special? All right, hopefully this gets Instagram back. This is really its own problem because of this stupid Instagram thing. Just give me an Instagram key and we're all set. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so first of all, I don't want an iLok dongle. I like, if we're going to use iLok, let's have iLok Cloud or something, but I don't even want any of it. So no iLok dongle. We definitely want round robin, multi velocities, multiple samples for different mics, locked with correct round robin and velocity. Okay. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense, but so you want to have like the top snare mic, bottom snare mic, overheads, room mics, whatever, and you want to be able to have those knowingly locked together with round robin and velocity layers. So something like trigger, you could put a trigger instrument on one of these, and you would have them locked together. Let's see. Let me just do that real quick. You do a what am I doing? Jacob. I've been using Jacob Hansen's thing lately. So here's the samples. Where's the is there presets? I don't know if there's actual presets. See, with these trigger instruments, somehow it ends up being the right round robin for the right hit, whatever. Let me see, is there a preset here? I'm trying to remember where the presets are. So here's like a TCI if we put that in there. So that's you know, when you put these together, somehow it knows to have the right ones go with the right ones. So those are trigger instruments. You could use single samples on here. I'm looking for a preset. Hold on. So here's Platinum Kit presets. So let's just pull one up. So here's the kick. So when I pull up a preset, it's got 3 different samples, but they will follow each other in the round robin and stuff. So on something like this, you know, how much of this is going to be in the triggering, right? Like that's a huge part of this. Like the detector for the triggering, that's all the work, right? How many times have you had to go in after the fact and edited the hell out of this thing just to make it trigger right, right? The better the band, the less you're going to have to do that. But the better the band, the less you're going to need to use this kind of crap anyway. It's kind of, it's something we talked about in the perverse inverse, right? The bands that can least afford the money that it'll take to mix them or record them are the bands that need the most money. The bands who can actually afford it tend to be so good that they don't need it anymore, which is kind of perversely inverse, right? So you have to think about this kind of thing. Like, ideally, in the future, we just bought this AI computer to figure this kind of stuff out. So eventually we're going to want to have an AI system that really just triggers and almost like a sample replace, maybe like one of these RipX kind of things where, in my ideal world, we would have this thing where, I don't know if you've seen the extraction thing where you can take vocals or guitars and stuff out of already mixed songs, and it's pretty good. But you would have this AI system that could just remove everything that wasn't the drum from the drum track. Not like a gate, not even like our multiband gate. I'm talking the entire drum signal is now there, and everything else that's not that drum is completely taken out. That's the ideal. Like that would be just magic to me. That's where I'd like to get to. That's not where this is going to get to right away, but just know that that's on the roadmap, and that's where we want to get to. So definitely want to have a system, easy system for creating full sample instruments. And when I'm saying that, I mean like what I mean by that is your instrument editor, your sample editor. You want to have like a grid. Actually, maybe we can even make that right now. Actually, there's a grid right here. Why can't I? Can I leave that grid on? That'd be nice to have this grid. Is there some kind of table? Let's see. I'm just looking for flowchart. So I'd like to have a grid where you could show. So like just 1 second. All right. Um, I know this isn't the ideal thing to make this with, but so I guess we would have oops, so why is that? What was I calling this? Instrument editor. And so you could have one of these for every mic, and you'd have to be able to tie them all together. But it's just a basic grid, right? Let me throw these in here. Oops. Yeah, I know this isn't the best way to do it, but so you would just say like velocity 1 RR1 right here, you know. So you just basically throw all these in here. I mean, so much of what I'm about is ergonomics. So like, I really want this stuff to be easy to deal with, and you know, if we have to, it should be scriptable. I know some of these things, like I used Maze Sampler for a while. It was just really hard to get things done because you really want to be able to use like a text editor or search and replace to really fly through getting some of these done. I know Trigger, like if it doesn't drop in the exact right order, it can be a massive pain. Let's see. Some more of these in here. Lesson 2. I know that there's actual like prototyping apps would be much better to use than this, but I'm pretty comfortable with this. City 2. I wish that the inside click of this thing would work a little bit simpler. It's not really working great. But C2 or 3. And I don't know, am I really needing to do all this? Just to give an idea though. I really hate the way you click into this thing. C2RR4. C3. It's driving me nuts. So, we may have a lot more slots than this, but 4x4 is not bad. But and again, this is just for demonstration purposes. So here would be your instrument editor. You drag and drop in these samples. You'd have like a export to whatever. You should be able to import other ones and have it open up. Maybe we'll have some buttons down here. Your import button and your export, and then maybe you'd have sorry, caps. Maybe you'd have some info, and so let's put these buttons. Just put them down here. So this info area. Oh man, this clicking stuff drives me nuts. This one can be 12, and it's not going to be bold. So this is, it would tell you like which other instruments is tied to. Tied to, I don't know, linked to. So you could link it to other instruments. Probably have some other stuff like sample rate, bit depth, that kind of thing. Number of samples, number of round robins, number of velocities. But when I say link with the X instrument, you'd have another one like this for another mic. So like this would be the top snare one, you have the bottom snare. Okay, and then for input, you know, you want to be able to use the audio input. So let's see what would you use for input, and we want to have multiple outputs too. See, this is where it gets tricky. Some DAWs, I'm not gonna say inferior DAWs, but DAWs like Logic or Cubase, and I don't know who else besides Reaper, because I know this works for Reaper, but you may not be able to have multiple ins or multiple out plugins unless they're instruments. So is this an instrument? But if it's an instrument, it may not be able to have an audio input. So this is a problem. I'm not sure how to deal with this with the other DAWs because, you know, because of this problem. So if you run Slate Trigger inside of Logic or something, does it have multiple outs? Let me ask my developer. I'm pretty sure it must work because if you look at Trigger here, Trigger can have, pretty sure it can have a bunch of outputs. Let me check. I'm forgetting. Settings. Well, maybe it can't. Shoot. Okay, so this is a problem. I'd like to have multiple outs because if we're going to be hosting multiple mics, then boy, it's going to be hard not having multiple outs. I guess you could make your plugin aware of other instances. I'm not sure that's ideal. Well, I'm trying to think. I swear. No, there's only one output? No way. Hold on, let me put SSD 5 up here real quick. But see, this is an instrument, but I don't think it can take an audio input. Oh, this is a problem. Now, see, this one's got up to 48 outs, right? Does say that it has inputs, but I'm not sure that it can actually use them. So this is tricky. What about drum replacer here? How many outs does it have? Just 2 outs. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, this is a problem. You know, I wish the other DAWs of the world would catch up with Reaper, and this wouldn't be an issue at all. Crap. Okay. So. So it may be that you got to run multiple instances of this plugin. It's not what I wanted to have to do. I mean, you could mix them all in the one plugin and mix them to a stereo out. Oh, man, so okay, so this is ergonomics, right? I would love it if you could just throw them all in the same one, but you won't be able to do that in other DAWs if you want separate outputs. Ugh. Ugh, 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 ugh. We could make this multi-plugin aware, so let's do that. Just add that to this. Multi-plugin aware, so that different mics can have the correct round robin and velocity for multiple instances for multiple mics. And I'm saying mics, there's other, you know, it could be multiple samples or whatever, but multi-plugin aware. So, and say multi-plugin aware, so that one trigger can fire multiple instances. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row here because there's all these, man, I tell you, like, this drum stuff can get complicated really fast. Anything with multiple outputs too. Okay, so let's go for the trigger inputs here. So this could be, what the hell is that? It's not supposed to be there. This could be separate instance, MIDI, audio. So this is just kind of stating the obvious, but I'm going to put it there for now so that we can always know how this gets to it. So the outputs, I think it's just going to have to be a stereo output, which is sad. That's not it's not ideal, but like, again, we do have to, I do have to think of what the other DAWs besides Reaper are going to be doing. So unfortunately, until they catch up with what Reaper had in 2005 or whatever it was, we are gonna have to do multiple instances, which kind of sucks. But let's go on from here. We're gonna have. See, this is tricky. So if we're looking at like this, you would have a mixer for every sample that's in this instrument, or would this hold multiple instruments? That's the question here. The thing is, if I'm holding multiple instruments, we just have to go out 2 outs. It's kind of worthless. It's almost like we want to have multiple instruments per whatever instances. Yeah, this really sucks. Come on, guys, get your outputs going for other plugins. I don't think you can pass an audio input into a VST instrument. Let me check on that. Let's go to Google. Can VST instruments have audio inputs? Yeah, see, these questions, this is why. It's 2015. I'm not really. Yeah, this is a good question. So if an instrument can have multiple inputs, I can have actual audio inputs and not just MIDI inputs, we might be okay. Possibly we could make a plugin that's just the audio input to pass the trigger to MIDI onto the other one. You know, one of the things we're looking at is ARA. Like, if you did this with ARA, you could do so much more for editing. So let's look at one of the use cases we're gonna have lots of trouble with. Okay. So let me delete this. Where's it? Vertical container. Okay. Correcting triggers. So ideally you would have a way, and I don't know that you can actually do this. So this is, again, this is pie in the sky stuff. This is where I'd like to get to, but not necessarily can. So we get text box in here, and I'd like it to skip. Where's the bullets? Bullets. Yeah, where did I find that? We left line. Bulleted list. So if it was ARA, you should be able to write or delete trigger events. And now with Reaper's pooled ARA, you could really do some damage. Kernel editor or delete trigger events, or else MIDI generator that goes into your MIDI editor. Now, unfortunately, again, most DAWs aren't like Reaper, where you could have audio and MIDI on the same track. In fact, I think you could have them on separate lanes in newer versions of Reaper. That would be nice, but you can't do that with most DAWs. So, gonna have to have a separate track. It's gonna be like sidechain to it. And again, like, I know most DAWs routing is horrible. You may not be able to sidechain both MIDI and audio to the same plugin. I mean, come on, guys, for real. Like, I would love to see DAWs get a lot more advanced. And I mean, Reaper is more than 10 years old now. I'm going to call this correcting trigger events. So, you know, an internal editor, maybe you would see this like screen that had every hit on it, and you could edit it. I think in Drum Replacer. Let me do this real quick. I'll put some triggering events in here. second. This is coming out pretty quickly here, you guys. Actually, I need testers. We got beta testers out there. We got some plugins that need to go. Intuition's getting completely rebuilt. I need it tested on a lot of different systems. So let me know if you can test this. Let me play the Wait, is that a kick? Since when was it Since when was it a kick? No. Oh. I'm such an idiot. Look at this. It's firing slate trigger. Oh god, okay. I was like, wait a second. Alright. Alright, sorry about that. Okay. So I'm looking at Drum Replacer here. And so here's its internal editor, right? Turn this down. So here's the internal editor for UVI's Drum Replacer. So if this thing was actually something that's stored, you could go in here and edit the hits. That's what I'm talking about when I say internal editor. If that's even possible. It seems like it'd be a pretty tricky thing to do, but that's what I mean by internal editor, write or delete trigger events. When it sees this thing, it gets to a certain thing and it decides to fire a trigger, go back in time and, like this is its own audio track, right? Like it stores it itself somehow, which is kind of messed up because this is a real-time function. So I'm not really sure. Might have to like write to internal file or something like that. But ideally you could go back there and you see a trigger you don't like, delete it. And then somehow you press a button and it exports the whole thing as a MIDI file, maybe. Export all triggers as MIDI file or trigger pulse file. That could be a wave file that's just like trigger pulses that you could use and edit yourself in your DAW. That might work pretty well. So yeah, this is a big problem. This multi-out thing for VSTs, that is a problem. I really want to have multiple outputs, but if not, we're gonna have to make this thing multiple instance aware. Gosh, it'd be so much easier if we could do multi-outs. I mean, we could make it so the thing is one plugin instance per instrument. All right. Let me make another list here. Issues to solve. So first of all, can regular plugins, not instrument, have multiple outs on DAWs besides Reaper? This is being a real pain. Yeah, I'm so bad at using this. Nope. Come on, let me stretch this thing. All right. Just gonna copy that. Yeah, sorry that I'm so bad with this stuff. How do I line that at the top? I don't know. An instrument plugins have audio inputs triggering. So you think this we'd have a like a mix control or something, which we could, but I always use these as separate tracks. Like I'd use it on a send or something. But I know I'm trying to deal with DAWs that aren't Reaper, which is a problem. Man, I wish all these basic things were in all the DAWs at this point. They're not, so I'm gonna have to figure this out. Let's see what else. Audio inputs for triggering. Instance or multi. Because it really, that's all going to depend on this output thing. And look, we haven't even gotten to features yet, so make this a little bit smaller. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna make more features here. So one of the things I'd like to have is a sine square saw noise envelope follower. So you could add frequencies to this if you want, like the old 55 hertz kick trick or whatever, or white noise for making your snare more trappy. What else we can have? I was gonna say you add other samples to it. Your click and clack samples, but it could be that this needs to be a separate instance. I really need some more info, but we're getting there. What else are we looking at here? Looking at drum replacer. So this one, you can make all different types of things, multi-samples. I really like this editor here. I'm not thrilled with the detector itself, and that's really where we're going to get to. We really want to get the most awesome detector that ever lived in the whole entire universe ever, but it's going to be tricky. We need extensive trigger filtering. Dynamic mapping with I hate this hidden stuff. I hate the secret squirrel stuff. I hate the ambiguous stuff. And I want it as ergonomic as possible. Let's look what else we're going to be pulling up. Mixer view curves. Dynamic mapping. Sorry, and scaling. There we go. Okay. Actually, this drag on track is pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's not how that works. I can't remember. Mixer view curves. We could send suppression signals to other instances. Send suppression signal to other instances. Okay. Okay, I think this is about as far as I can get right now. Man, I'm so glad Hard Left said he's still using Drumagog, because, I mean, not only do I have major affinity for that plugin, but I think they really push the world here. I do need some beta testers for another plugin. Let me pull up a recent project. Let's see. Not sure if this is gonna work, but let me see how to share this real quick. I just copy the link. Okay, so Dave. All right. Let me show you what we're working on here. So let's get this. This is our new gate plugin. Hopefully this is the latest version. Let me make sure. Oh no, that's Mac. All right, well, this is a Windows one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which version this is actually. But let me show you what this does. Okay. So I'm just going to loop this section here. We've got this automatic button. It's going to analyze the audio, and you can make a couple bands. And in this case, you can see the different bands, like what frequencies they are. Show you. So here's your crossover. And in this case, I'm going to make it so that, you know, the highs get cut off. This is, again, multi-band gate. Cut off, but let the lows go through. And it's kind of, especially for distorted stuff, right? I put this after the amplifier, which, you know, doesn't work well, but we could actually sidechain it in there. Let me just do that real quick. We get a noisy amp. Actually, probably hear it here. Let's noise that up. Get rid of this gate. Get rid of these delays, reverbs, all this stuff. I'm gonna crank the gain so it's noisy. Maybe the treble even. Okay. So let's make this input from the side chain. And make this 4 channels. Okay. Okay, so 3 and 4 should go right into the input of this. So it's going to be the clean signal that triggers this. Let's see if that's right. Why am I not hearing this? Yes, maybe an early version. Again, this is why we need beta testers. Okay. The side chain should work. One way I could do this is just to get a volume control on here. Like just basic JS volume. Put that first. And I'm going to take track channel 1, 2. So I'm going to make it go out to all 4. There we go. Okay, there we go. A little look ahead in. Okay, I'll put the amp back on. Okay. Ideally, this is gonna be more for drums or whatever, but actually, this is an older version. We gotta update the. I got a newer Mac version. If you're on Mac, You can beta test this thing. Let me know. I'll get it to you. But right now, I got to split. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll be working on this drum sampler. Let me know what you really want in a drum sampler, because I want to make the ultimate one. Anyway,